It's one of those questions that pops up from time to time to back up quarterbacks everywhere, but even at Georgia. Could you start right now at Georgia? That was asked to Ryan Puglisi on Tuesday night with a lot of football players coming through the media room, and he said, I could right now, definitely. He goes on to say, this is Ryan Puglisi, Georgia's one of Georgia's quarterbacks, presumably the backup, but we'll see. He says, I think if you're in the quarterback position and you don't believe that you can go play, you should probably do something else because you need some confidence. Yeah, I get it. Hey, I get it for sure. There's a big difference between. There's a couple things that Ryan said last night, I think, that are important in order to get him to the spot when he is starting at Georgia. He will be in the best position that he can be in. So one of the things he said Tuesday night was, I think you're competing with yourself every day. Just trying to be better than you were yesterday and putting your head down and going to work every single day, no matter where you are on the depth chart. That's more important than are you going to be the starter? And, or can you be the starter? That part right there is critical for everybody in sports. I mean, there's a reason Ryan Puglisi is at Georgia. And it's not, it's not. The reason is because he's got the capability to be a really good quarterback. Now, can he beat out Gunnar Stockton? I don't know the answer to that. I was watching, Matt DeBerry put a photo out earlier today on Twitter that Brian Herrien made a catch in 2019, and there on the sideline reacting to it was Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett wasn't ready to be the starter in 2019. Stetson Bennett, this is going to sound bad. Stetson Bennett, people viewed him as a joke if that were not in the program. They didn't take him seriously. Like, he walked on, he left, and all this. People didn't know what they had. This guy's a freaking legend now. Where's that? This whole background's going to fall down. This guy's a freaking legend now. Well, he wasn't ready. Stetson wasn't ready. Stetson wasn't ready in 2019. He wasn't totally ready in 2020, but he did start. I think it takes all of these battles that everybody goes through. It takes all of that to get where you got to go. And look, the reality is, Ryan Puglisi has been healthy basically for a year now. He's not thrown. I'm not aware that Ryan Puglisi has thrown a football in a football game at Georgia. All right. So no, he's not the best option right now because of experience. I mean, Gunnar Stockton doesn't have a lot of experience, but he's got a lot more than Ryan Puglisi. He's started a Sugar Bowl. He's played for and won an SEC championship game. He's played in an Orange Bowl. Ryan Puglisi has not done those things. That's a challenge. Now, does that mean he won't blossom into something that's a big deal? No. I mean, I think that we don't know what Ryan Puglisi's future is. We have it on good authority at Dawg Post that he threw some touchdowns on Saturday. But someone other than Gunnar Stockton threw interceptions. I don't know who that was. I don't know which quarterback that was. So it's possible that was Puglisi. I mean, but those details, is he going forward in a meaningful way, in a way where, Georgia can trust him to be their quarterback when they need him to be? Think of all the quarterbacks that Kirby's had. I mean, he has a lot of different types of guys who started for him. Grayson Lambert should have never started at Georgia, but, it is what it is. Jacob Eason was very different than Jake Fromm, was very different than Dwan Mathis, and then you had Stetson Bennett, who was very different than JT Daniels, back to Stetson, and then you go forward with, Carson Beck and then Gunnar Stockton. And off the top of my head, he's been at Georgia for 9 seasons, and he started 8 guys, 2 of them for 1 game. So, Puglisi's got all the tools you need to play quarterback, not just at Georgia, but probably professionally. And when you talk with people, it's evident his ability. The thing that, Ryan Curley picked up on me quicker probably than anything is, yeah, that's great. When we're talking about can you play the position or not? If you can't play quarterback, but you can throw a football, that means you can throw a football. And this is going to sound like I'm running down Ryan Puglisi. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's great that you have the tools. That's step one. Like Lauryn Hill used to say in her Grammy-winning album, respect is just the minimum. Playing, throwing and having the size, that's just the minimum at quarterback. You've got to have the ability. You've got to have the clock in your head. You've got to have the calm. What I loved about Carson Beck was he never seemed to get rattled until 2024. I mean, then it didn't look so good, right? I will be at Red Zone at 3 o'clock on Friday. 3 o'clock on Friday, I will be at Red Zone in Athens. I'm certain they will have the Masters on. If they don't, we will be having it on while I'm there. I'll be monitoring that as we talk about Georgia and really, where is this team at in the global scale of things? What is their positioning in college football as we brace for a 2025, that we can't, know what the future, where the future holds with all of that. What's it going to be like this fall? It's hard to know. We're going to talk about that and more at Red Zone. These numbers are sort of hovering more and more together with Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, and Oregon. It would not at all be surprising that a pair of SEC and a pair of Big Ten schools are in the semifinals. To me, that's what college football deserves. Sort of other than the riffraff of the playoff this past season, there was some serious trash in the playoff, and there were some trash performances. I'm looking at you, Georgia, in the Sugar Bowl, Tennessee at Ohio State. I mean, so this is really coalesced around one another. But what Ryan Puglisi's got to be ready for is at any moment, Gunnar Stockton could get hurt, just like Carson Beck got hurt, just like, honestly, Stetson Bennett got hurt, JT Daniels got hurt, Jacob Eason got hurt. Guys get hurt. All the seasons I just mentioned, 16, 17, 20, 21, and 24, all those seasons, the guy that started quarterback didn't finish as the starting quarterback, and most of the time it was due to injury. And the next guy coming up and playing a lot better. I mean, Jacob Eason, JT Daniels, they both lost those positions because of injury. Carson Beck in 24. So about every other year this happens. So if you're Ryan Puglisi, you've already been injured. You know what that's like to deal with. And you've got to be ready because your time will come, as Led Zeppelin would say, and these music analogies continue. References, I should say. So Ryan's got to be ready, and I am very much looking forward to G-Day to be able to witness what Ryan Puglisi's got in meaningful way, because when you speak with people behind the scenes, they'll say, well, he's got better tools than Gunnar Stockton. He's got a better arm, at least. But when you go from, say, 7-on-7 or even, individual drills, it becomes evident why Stockton is the starter or presumed starter going into this thing. I think if you're Ryan, though, the smartest thing that you can do is compete with yourself, because you're not ever going anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. You're always going to be there. I would always focus on, I can do 20 push-ups. Can I do 21 today? I can assure you I can't do 20 push-ups anymore. But, like, for instance, when I do my runs, am I pushing myself more? No, the answer for me is no, right? For me, it's about consistency. But when you're a in-sport athlete, in-season athlete, all that stuff, it's that time of your life, you need to push yourself as much as possible. We're about to come out of spring football. Ryan Puglisi, Gunnar Stockton, Ryan Montgomery, any player at Georgia, they need to continue right now doing what they're doing and moving forward. They need to, just because the season's over, that's the number one time to improve. That's what I found all the time was, when are you really getting better in basketball? In the summer, for sure. But if you stop for a month and a half doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's not going to work. So he's got to continue to do the stuff that he's got to do to become a big deal at Georgia and beyond, whatever that may be. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at Red Zone on Friday at 3.